What's good, everybody? You're listening to the Glow Up Podcast. I'm recording remotely, but we're still a part of the Soundcasting Network here in Seattle, Washington. I am Miss Casey Carter, and unfortunately, Naomi is not with us today, but we are sending her love. She's doing just fine. She just isn't able to join us today. But I do want to remind everybody to rate, review, and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud. We appreciate all of your kind words and hitting us up with those stars. Let us know how we're doing. We got to remind y'all to sign up for our Glow Gang Spotlight and sign up for our email list for exclusive discounts, information, and more. And then subscribe to us on YouTube. All of that can be found in the link in our bios on any of our social media platforms at the Glow Up Cast. So make sure to check us out. Shout out to our girl Tara Jones last week, because that was a fun episode about money and keeping your pennies pretty. Lots of great gem. I love her approach on just the reality of being real with your goals and your money. So make sure to check out that episode. And this week, I'm excited. I've got Melva LaJoy LeGrand. Congratulations. I know you just got married.
Thank you. To hear you say it, I'm still like, oh yeah, that's me. That's me.
Yes, that is you. So thank you for joining us. She's an event planner, community builder, and just so much more. So we'll dive into that realm in just a second, but let's begin with our weekly wins and lessons. I will kick things off, and this is a lesson. And I am just seeing it. Basically, I'll give you guys a little backstory. There's this new music series that played off of what our guy Chase Bay did, I think last year or 2019, 2020. Basically, he brought like a lot of Seattle together to do this like thing called Seattle Sessions, all these artists. Great thing, very selfless thing, and just highlighting the community. Well, some people weren't too happy because they just saw one thing wrong with it or the other. And the reason I bring this up and it being an important lesson to me is just me being a person who has also worked very selflessly and for trying to bring the community together. You're always going to make somebody upset. Either they just don't like the way you did something, you left somebody out and they're upset about that, and they're going to just make it seem like you're just doing it all wrong. My advice is just to stop getting upset. Maybe try and collab so the future thing can be the way you want it, or just don't say anything at all and do your own thing. But our scene is so small, and I feel like this is just can be across everywhere. Like, scenes are so small, and the more and more we like down talk somebody for doing something, regardless of if you like it or not, it just makes you smaller. So it makes our scene smaller. So let's just not say anything negative. We've already had a hard ass year. So let's just not say anything, do your own thing, or reach out and collab. Either way, spread love. That's all you need to be doing. No more salt being thrown. Let's grow up and stop using social media to be judges, because that's just, I'm tired of it. I'm so tired. All right.
I didn't know I was coming for a sermon. Wow.
It literally just happened this morning. I'm so triggered again because this is so personal to me, because I've thrown events, I've done things for artists, and I'll not have someone involved, or I'll do something away, somebody doesn't like it, and everybody will just be so mad at me. And now that I've like stepped away for a second, I can fully see like, that's not my problem. That's your problem. And stop trying to persecute me on social media. It's all good. Talk about yourself, not me. Okay, Melva, what is your weekly winner lesson?
Woo! How do you follow that? Here's what I will say. My lesson, what I'm sitting in right now is, and I'll give some backstory too, is that a no is a yes for you. A no is a yes for you. And so throughout this week, there were so I'm an entrepreneur, I own a business. We submit proposals all the time, and we want that business. Well, this week, we didn't get that business. And you feel that, what? And we were a finalist and all of the things. But what I couldn't anticipate is that no freed up space that I needed in my personal life. And so sometimes it was a reminder, the lesson was a reminder that the delay the pain, the trial, whatever you want to put in, say, a negative context in the moment, has a purpose. And so the no for me this week was a huge yes. And that personal time, I can't even begin to tell you how badly I needed that.
Ah,
That's the lesson.
I love that. And that's something frequently we hear on the show from our guests. Like no can mean yes, no can mean not right now, but we have to stop looking at things. I think both of our lessons, just look at things a little more positively. Flip
Oh,
it.
you have to. You have
Flip
to.
it.
And here's the other thing that I know as a business owner, excuse me, all money isn't good money.
Come on. There we
I'll
go.
just stop right there. That's the
Yep.
lesson.
There we go. All right, let's get into our vibe check. Is there currently anything that you are vibing with?
You know what I'm vibing with, like, heavily, and hopefully I'll say this correctly. It's Cleo Wade. Are you familiar with Cleo Wade?
No, please school me.
So she is a writer. I'm getting to know her work, but the book that I have is called Heart Talk. And I would say they are affirmations of who she was and how she became the woman she is today. So it deals with self love, it deals with reconciling with doubt, it deals with what you were talking about, people projecting their stuff onto you, and that's totally their stuff and it's not your stuff. And she does it in such a beautiful way that in this season of being a newlywed, being a daughter, being a business owner, I often look to her heart talk to feed my soul. And that's a whole vibe.
I love come on, I love it. Way to tie it in. I have been I finally was able to watch the Judas and the Black Messiah movie.
Ooh, I've wanted to see that. Tell me.
Oh, yes, just man, that is what I'm currently vibing with. I just felt so inspired. I felt curious. I'm a problem solver and I just, I want to help the community and just
Mm,
watching what Chairman Fred Hampton was able to accomplish
mm.
all before the age of 21 was
Whew.
just like it was so inspiring and it got some fire under my ass and it was just a really great movie to watch. The Lucas brothers did an amazing job. I know it's not on HBO Max anymore. We watched it on Amazon Prime for $20. It's well worth the money. I wish we would have been able to watch it in the movie theater. Lakeith Stanfield, I think he's brilliant. It was great. And of course,
Mm.
just definitely go watch it. Definitely go watch it. It is such a great movie. Yeah, what a crazy story. What a crazy sad situation
Mm.
and definitely worth the $20 to go watch. So check that out.
Mm.
Yes, yes. All right, you guys. We're gonna chat with Melva in just a second. We'll be right after this. We'll be right back after this break. All right, you guys. We are back, and again, we are joined by Melva LaJoy LeGrand. Again, congratulations! You just got married, right? Like literally.
April 17th. Yeah.
Were you planning this wedding before the pandemic, or was this something that was like, all right, we went through all this, we need to do this?
So we got engaged in December.
Okay.
And when I asked my husband, did I say that? My husband, I was comfortable with doing something in our home. And then it became another thing. And so, yeah, we've planned it in this season. It helps that I'm an event planner, but it was an intimate 10-person, beautiful affair.
Oh my God.
And words cannot describe how full of love and heart and worth the wait and all the things. You don't even have time for me to tell you how I feel about my wedding, but I will say that I love me some him. He was worth
Oh,
the wait. This is for any human who will just stop at 20, 30, 40, 50. You think it's not going to happen, and I'm not telling you where I am in that, but it's worth the wait.
Oh my God. Okay. First of all, I come from an event planning background as well. And my fiance and I have been engaged for almost 4 years. And we are finally making it happen. What was going to start as going to the courthouse has turned into a thing as well.
It's a thing.
I was shocked when you said 10 people because that takes a lot of strength because we are fighting right now with 80 people. Obviously, we don't have control over what's happening in the world. So
Yeah.
that's helping us with the excuses. But it's
Mhm.
so difficult. So, congratulations again. I love it. I mean, I'm excited as well for you got me feeling the love. Okay. So now we're right in the thick of the planning right now. So it's an amazing thing. So yay. All right. Well, tell us about yourself, Melva. I know you were before the mics turned on, you were telling me you grew up in Connecticut and DC.
Mhm.
Who were you growing up? Where was events and planning and getting community together like who you were?
Absolutely not. So, if you can see behind me, there is a picture of a very bald headed Melva with a headband, thanks to my mother. And who I was growing up was someone who was very insecure and was living life in a very small way. And that had to do with how I felt as a brown skinned Black human, right? And it was only until I'm going to credit college, Howard University, HU. I'm going to credit my Bison fam, my mentors there for opening me up to so many things in the Black experience, in the diaspora. And it was there that a lot of people don't know this, but at Howard, there are students, I don't know if this is still the case, that plan the homecoming. And Howard Homecoming is the best, period, full stop.
I've heard about it all the way
Full
over
stop.
here.
Full stop. And so that was my introduction into events. And I didn't know
Wow.
it could be a job. I didn't know it could be a job. And I have parents who are like, that's cute. But what are you gonna do? Right?
Yep.
Like you need to
Yep.
go to work. And so I was on a completely different trajectory. I was into education. I went to grad school. I had a whole nother career. And then it hit me that this was just a job and I
Gotcha.
wasn't happy.
Yeah.
And that's when I decided to take the leap and go into a career that didn't exist, didn't have a degree. And that was over 20 years ago.
Oh my goodness. Now I got to scale back because I feel like, I mean, thank you for being vulnerable enough to share that you were insecure growing up and like we live in this world now where teens are probably feeling even more pressure because they have social media. They
Oh my
they
God.
may be insecure about whatever. And how are you because events is like you got to be in with people, you got to talk to people, you got to network, you got to invite people. How were you able to kind of before you were doing events, how were you able to navigate every day just being a teen with insecurities? How are you able to overcome them? Or was it not until you started doing events?
It's a combination. So, as a child, my mother is a force. She's a force. And so, my mother was constantly planting in me positive affirmation. She was the mom that would get the Santa Claus and color him brown. She was the mom who, even though I was bald, and to be clear, I was bald because I pulled my hair out of frustration because it didn't bounce like everybody else's. She was my mom to put the headband and the bows and tell me I was beautiful.
Oh,
Beautiful. So I would say from an early age, my parents, including my dad, were planting that you matter, I see you, etc., etc. Then you couple that, I'm going to get real with therapy. Okay. I love therapy. My family was smart enough to really seek additional support. You add a little dose of my faith, and then you add being immersed in the best experience for me at Howard University, and I blossomed. I got it. I
oh,
got it.
that's
It
so
finally
beautiful.
came. I was like, oh, yeah, we've been kings, we've been queens. My hair may be poofy or whatever, but it's mine, and I am worthy, and I am this, and I am that. And every now and again, you need people in your world that build you up. And so, what I have found since college, and I still have friends from college, I'm only interested in people who are adding to my life. And if they're not, I let them go.
Yes, like Elsa said, let it go.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. So, well, in this event process, then are you very mindful about the type of events that you do? I know you've done a lot of events that support Black people, Black women. Are you very mindful when it comes to the events you produce or be a part of?
1000%. So I will say this before this version of my career, I worked in, we'll say, corporate. And I found it to be very misogynistic, a little ageist. I was younger. And I knew for me that I couldn't sleep at night being in that environment. It was the first lesson where I realized that all money is not good money. All money is not good money. And so I have made it a point to identify organizations and missions, usually in the education equity space. So going, full circle, that I think are trying to make this world better, more inclusive, more interesting, more diverse. I want to be a part of that work. And I don't need the credit. Event planners, we're behind the scenes. But when I leave this earth, when I am gone and the story is written about me, I want to know that I contributed to the good. Not that I just fed my pocket. I can live with that.
Oh, girl, you are speaking to my soul right now.
Oh, good.
I just love that. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now, with event planning, before the pandemic happened, everybody was just having a good old time. Now, we're gonna transition into what happened last year. And as an event planner, how were you able to how did it look for you first? Let's start there.
Well, and I'm glad you asked that question because I think social media paints a very pretty view. I want to give everybody a real view. Here's the real talk.
Please.
In 2020, LaJoy Plans, my business, was contracted to do 42 events across the country. We are a boutique firm. So for us, because there are some companies that do hundreds, but for us, we were like, woo! Then March 13th hit, which was the date that the then president announced that it was a national emergency. We all had indications, but that was the official date. And in a matter of, it felt like minutes, I lost 98% of the business.
Oh
That's the real talk. And that's something I don't know that enough people are comfortable saying. I got to tell you, how we've persisted is life support, sheer grit, faith, and creativity, period. It wasn't, I see a lot of people say, I'm booked and busy. And I'm like, are you? I can't say that. What I can say is I'm smart, I'm resourceful, and I do have a hustler's mindset, a legal hustler. Legal, let's be clear. And that's how we got through.
How were you able to pivot?
So tactically, the first thing after you grieve, because there was some grieving, right? Went back to school and got certified in digital event strategy and started to proactively market that service. That was one. Started to write more about the industry. So I started to do things that we wanted to do but never had time to do. Because in my mind, we were preparing. I considered the COVID times preparation for the party times post-COVID, what we're all to some extent experiencing now. So we pivoted to virtual. We launched a webinar series. We went back to school so we could say, yes, we do digital events and we're actually certified. And you know what? We had wellness checks. When things weren't right, when it was hard, we checked on each other. That's how we did it. That's how we did it.
That's so amazing. I think, and I know my friends are guilty of this too. I think sometimes we're always thinking that someone's going through something and we don't want to bother them. But in reality, we do need to continue to check on our people. I mean, last year definitely taught me, like, don't wait. Like, don't think about someone and then wait to message them, because you may not have that the next time. So I love that you guys did that within your community and within your team. That's beautiful. Now you've overcome so much. I mean, just like mentally, and then last year, like, we're all going through something. And when I'm talking to you, I see like a glow and I feel resilience. Now, how does one keep hope in a world that is just like constantly bogging you down with so much to take away your hope?
I think what's coming up for me, and I want to be so honest with you, I am going through a personal storm like no other with my parents. And I would say the only reason why I am sane, ooh, and my voice is cracking, is I'm looking for the bright spots. I am actively looking for the bright spots. So, what is a bright spot for me? My bright spot could be my husband. My bright spot could be that I actually woke up today when we know, what is it, 500,000 people in this country didn't. My bright spot could be that I don't know a Black man in my family who's a victim of violence. And so I try to gather all of those bright spots as a reminder that there is light in the sea of darkness. That's on a metaphysical level. On a tangible level, so one of the things I started talking about last year is the personal pandemic. And the personal pandemic, a phrase I think I came up with, is to say that we have all done hard things. We have all experienced trauma. This is not about your trauma is bigger than mine or blah, 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 blah. But my point in telling anyone who has thought of giving up, and I want to be, I have thought about it. Heck, I have tried it. But you know what kept me? Is I look back at my story. I look back at this girl. I look back at the sexual assault I've survived, the financial debt I survived when Oodles and Noodles wasn't a restaurant thing. And it is a reminder to me of where I have come from and how if I can do that, the next thing I can get through. And so I don't know who I'm talking to. Maybe I'm just talking to myself right now. But document your story.
Yes, absolutely.
Document your story.
Those are all practices I personally try and do. I love how you shared finding the light, like just thinking of one little piece that can have you understand that things could be worse. And then also reminding of yourself where you came from. I think we always forget, and we're always living in the moment, or we're always stressing about the future, and we forget all of the crazy things we survived. Like things that we thought, like right now, we're like, I can't believe I even survived that. So that's beautiful. So what's happening now? You guys are certified in digital events. What's going on with your event planning business now?
So I would say we're not back to the pre-COVID times, but we see proof of life, and that's a bright spot. So we recently, and this was so much fun, produced a virtual event for the community in DC about COVID, about the vaccination. And I'm super proud of it because we filmed and produced it in 10 days. So I'm very proud of that. We are starting to see our clients that were trying to figure out for themselves, like, what do we do in this new reality, an uptick in our virtual conferences. And so I'm grateful that our business is such that our clients are with us on average from 2 years all the way up to 8 years and counting, knock on everything and say a prayer. I'm going to continue speaking. That's become another big body of work for me. Thankfully, people like you want to hear from me. And sadly, or maybe good, I have a lot of material. So we are doing the work, and we are hoping that in the future we will see hybrid events in the corporate sector. So if you're having a wedding, you're probably in person. But since we deal with corporate and nonprofit, we hope to see hybrid. And then we definitely want to travel again. That's what we're about.
Yes. Do you see events eventually getting back, or how are you personally feeling about like in-person events?
Oh my goodness, people aren't going to like this answer, but I got to keep it real. I I think social events, weddings, mitzvahs, retirement parties, those are happening. Hello, I just had one because people need people. People want to be with their family in a safe way. Period, full stop. I think it's going to be challenging for organizations that the world has proven that we can be productive virtually to say travel to this professional development conference, right? Travel and
Yeah.
get that training because
Yeah.
how we've done this. So I personally think the future is hybrid for a lot of our corporate, nonprofit, and association clients. And then I do think generationally, I'm just being real, generationally, I think people will come back together and we'll see that uptick really next year towards the end of this year. That's
Do you,
my prediction.
do you have any like one or two gems for folks who are event planners who are looking to get back into the space? Maybe they've taken a break and they want to, roll their sleeves back up and get back into events. Do you have any, since you've been doing some
Absolutely.
things, what are some
Absolutely.
tips you could share?
Number one, don't take a break. Don't take a break. That's number one. Part of the reason why we have work is we were working when there was no work. So don't take a break. Your LinkedIn, your professional networking. I get it. Zoom fatigue. Guess what? I'm bored too. Got to do it. Don't take a break. Number two, I think for people who are actively looking for work in events management, start to date some of your, like a boutique firm like mine. Start to engage with them, whether it's LinkedIn, social media, etc. Like, I don't know if my information is going to be shared out, but contact
Absolutely.
me. I love to help people. Mentoring is a space I'm leaning into, but I would say be intentional, be assertive, not annoying, but assertive in pursuing companies that are starting to return and do the work that you're interested in. Do not break.
I love that. Come assertive, I always say come correct, come proper. That's just, again, don't be thirsty, but just
I
show
like
that
that. Don't be
you're,
thirsty,
yeah,
please.
just show you're about it. Okay, well, I want to ask you for some more tips before we get out of here because I think you've done a great job when it comes to event planning and all of that kind of stuff. You're building community. You're bringing people from all walks of life together for something that they all vibe with. So I want to ask you for what are 3 tips on building community?
Number one, I would say is understanding where they are, right? So when we plan events, we try to immerse ourselves in all of the key stakeholders and ask a very simple question: would I want to be here? Or what do I need to create so that X stakeholder would want to be there? Number two, do not ever think that the event is the end point. The event is just a point. Events actually have a cycle, and a lot of people don't realize that. There's the pre-event, there's the event, and there's the post-event. So you don't build a community off of one occasion. You build a community off of an experience. Build an experience. And number three, I would say in building community is build it with the community. Part of the reason why I think our events are successful is we don't sit in our office in a corner and tell the community, voila, here's your event. We ask them, if you want to be in the community, if you want to hit the nail, ask the people you're planning for.
Ah, I love those. Those are so good. Those are so great. Oh my God, Mel, I could talk to you for hours.
Let's
Thank
do
you
it.
so much.
Let's do it.
I know we're gonna have to continue this off air and set up some time because yes, I definitely need some of that what you're speaking today. So you're so amazing. So let people know where they can follow you, find you, and connect with you.
Yes. And let me say this, I love followers, but I love fellowship more. So here are the ways to reach me. So Instagram is great at Be LaJoyful. That's BeLaJoyful. Be LaJoyful. If you want to dream an event planning dream, let's do it. Email us at info@lajoyplans.com. And also, I am trying, it's a growth area for me, to build up Facebook, to build up YouTube. So on YouTube, because we're talking more, that's LaJoy Plans. And Facebook, again, is Be LaJoyful. And I would love to hear from anyone who wants to dream a dream.
Oh, I just love it. Oh my gosh, I'm so full now. I'm like, so inspired. We're going to share all this information with our listeners. I'm sure
Thank
they're going to
you.
want to connect with you as well. Please don't ever hesitate to reach back out to us and keep us updated and let us know how we can support you as well. Okay.
You?
Yes, of course. You guys, here's your reminder. Don't forget to sign up for our Glow Gang Spotlight. This is where we highlight and shine small businesses and give you your own feature in our emails and our social media. Don't forget to sign up for our email list as well for those exclusive discounts and fun stuff. And then sign up or subscribe to us on YouTube so you can see us, not just hear us, but now you can see us, which I think is you can throw us on while you clean in the house on a Sunday, Saturday morning and get all the insight and all the game right there. So thank you again, Melva. We miss you, Naomi. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud. Leave us those reviews. Follow us at the Glow Up Cast, and I'm at Miss Casey Carter, and we'll see y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye.